problem today is that we don't, not that we don't have data, we have too much data. So that's the key thing I keep hearing over and over whenever I talk to my clients, is that I have a noise, so help me get information, help me get the signals, the insight out of it. So what do we do typically is separating the insight from the noise. So the first thing probably everybody knows is, you get lead. If you go to a database company like Dun & Bradstreet, what are they going to give you? They're going to give you some names. Just go and call them, name, address, phone number. But that's like cold calling. And if you call them, somebody, I'm not going to listen to anybody trying to sell something, whatever. So cold calling is mostly not successful anymore. The days of cold calling, I mean, still people who will do it, but with with this explosion of data, it's becoming more and more rare. So the second piece is you provide intelligence. So what Joy was saying is predictive analytics. So remember, you have all this data on your current clients, right? You have, you know everybody who has bought from your company. So that's data on your current clients. So you have you probably have a bunch of statisticians also in your company, so they can build predictive models, and they can figure out who are the prospects who look like your existing clients, and they're going to give you those names, and you can go and call them. So basically finding other people who have the most highest chance of becoming your customer. So that's what data can do for you. So these are called intelligent lead generation for a sales lead. So if you talk to them and say, I'm going to give you data, they're not going to be very enthusiastic. But if you tell them, say, I'm going to give you better leads tomorrow that have a 60% higher chance of converting into an actual customer, then they're going to listen to you. So, and the third piece are the triggers, events, signals, the big data. So anytime things are happening, you have Twitters, you have feeds from various parts of the world. So there are actually a lot of companies whose bread and butter today is mining that data, and they have different machine learning, and they have artificial intelligence, they do a lot of text analytics, sentiment analytics. So they basically take all that noise and they provide the data, that information that anybody needs. And it could be sales.
That's interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt. I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing that I found was interesting about this big data analytics was mining text data.
That's
So
right.
a tremendous amount of service coming in, and we always struggle to see, okay, in a scale of 1 to 10, I know I can figure out with relational database, if there are 6s, I know we've done good. But what if with a 6, somebody made a text, and the information in that text is key for me to figure out what my customer is thinking about my products. And big data came in and mining that text, the sentiments and the analysis, which we didn't have before. Because we always struggled how to mine the words and come back and see how that relates to. In a scale of 1 to 10 in a survey, I know how to
It doesn't tell you anything.
So it
But
is
no,
it is from
no.
noise to mindful words.
Word. No, basically, if a
Absolutely.
customer is saying that I hate you, I'm
Yeah.
never going to do so you are training your models, you're training your
Yep.
machines to look for those words, like keywords, like I hate, I don't want to do business, never coming
It's
back.
not needed,
So it's
it's
picking,
needed.
yeah, it's picking up on those, and for next time somebody says that, you are sending alerts to your customer service, you're sending alerts to your
Right.
sales rep. Hey, this customer is a high risk. Somebody do something, somebody send him a promotion or something like that. This is the power of big data.
Yeah.
This is all about predictive and prescriptive data.
Right, and the modeling,
That's-
the machine learning is beautiful, is that, I'm not saying that I have 100 words, but they will pick up the next bad word. So I don't have to go in and put it in a lookup,
That's right.
okay? They have the ability now,
That's
through
right.
machine learning and modeling, that they will be able to pick up and say, okay, the word high is good, and the word, I don't know, excuse my language, something bad
word
is
is a
good,
bad
is a
word.
bad word,
Yeah.
although you didn't have it.
That's
So
right.
that the whole paradigm and the thought process has changed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, but then again, that is the point. That's what our brain has developed. Super fine sorting machine.
Indexing
know-
machine.
Indexing, basically that
Yeah.
তোমরা যাই বলো না
Our
কেন,
brain
it is
has
sort-
developed
it is
machines.
sorter.
Very good
Finally,
machines.
It was
Yeah.
sorter in the beginning.
Yeah.
Even the coins they go through the sorters.
Right.
So there's a
It's
flip
basic.
side to this, right? So the flip side to this is where actually in Europe Google got sued repeatedly. The fact
It's
is,
okay.
the fact is now the company has become so manipulative, and especially if you're selling data, right? You really want to sell the data where there's money. In other words, what Google does is if you do a search, right? The first 5 search would be the ones who are actually paying to Google most.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
So now they got sued because that means it is not a generic search. So you are actually hiding information.
Google is they don't disclose it, that is
That's right.
here is the bottom line. Google is
Well,
not
and
doing any
sponsor side
campaign,
artists
right?
can initiate again, but
It's
still,
all business.
but they have the sponsor side because they got sued, right?
Yeah.
The sponsor সেখানে বলে দিচ্ছে, but even then the site which actually shows up. So what this means is, if I'm doing the search on big data, আর আমার 10 বছরের ছেলে does a search on big data, they'll get different search results.
Exactly.
Question
Of course.
Oh, because they're tailoring it to
To
the
the,
other
আর
information.
দেখো,
They
It
have
can
only
be done in a good way,
yeah, or
where
better.
you can actually show what size actually makes sense for a 10-year-old kid, or it can be actually in a way where it actually can. So
Yeah, so,
basically, the key of that
আমাদের
success is
toys-
in their hands.
Did
Yeah,
you
the
see
thing
what
is,
that-
at that time Google will become
Did any
Wikipedia.
of you
Yeah.
see that movie, Toy? Did any of
When
you?
you say the
Yeah, that's
Please
the main
continue,
thing.
continue.
but I think,
Child
I think the point
machine.
being is that
Whatever
the
stored
big
is-
data has really changed the way how sales
Right.
and marketing is.
Sure.
So for a sales, for example, for like this particular signals, which actually I have used in the past is, somebody have a job posting on Indeed. By big data processing, a sales rep would know there is an opening. That means somebody is going to be hired. That means this is a window of opportunity for me to go and sell my product there. So this is, I did not have that information. A cold calling will never give me that information. A Dun & Bradstreet database book will never give me that information. That information is going to come from crowdsourcing. So that's the power of big data. If I'm in the payroll business, or if I'm trying, for example, I'm trying to sell somebody my card, like I'm American Express. I want to sell my card and my services, my terminal services. I want to know who is starting a business on this street, and I'm going to find out all of this from somebody has a billboard advertisement, or somebody has filed for some office space or something. That information is available today. That's why I'm going to be the first one to the door before all my competitors are coming in, and that's the power of big data.
Sure.
So this is all about getting there early on. And the last two parts is mostly for sales management. With data, where your opportunities are. You can allocate your resources, and the last and finally you have the dashboard. Every management loves a dashboard. So everybody has a dashboard, whether it gives you any intelligence or not. But you have your metrics. How you do against your revenue, your target, your quota, everything. Yeah, you need your dashboard. Every time I start a job, my current job, that was my first priority, my first project in my current job. I came in, the next day I was told that I have to build a dashboard for my department. I have built that dashboard in 9 months. Usage, don't ask me. It's probably 10%. I am the one who go in there 10 times a day to get the usage high because I'm looking for bugs.
I think one point which is very important here is the data visualization. So what has happened is basically as the things has become more and more cheaper, better, faster, right?
Yeah.
The volume of data you have to be able to, actually human beings are very good in recognizing patterns. They are very bad in reading text. So now if you just flip the whole concept, right, you take the two things which has happened. One is the dimensionality, the time dimensionality has been introduced now because it's slowly changing data you have, right? The other one is basically you can actually visualize over the period of time either this employee is performing or not performing. Are you meeting the sales target? It is not a point in time thing anymore. Last 4 quarters you did not meet your target versus if you just say, well, last quarter you did not meet your target, right? The conversation changes. So this whole dashboarding concept which was there before Now it is actually evolving into a more of an intelligent dashboard.
It is becoming, and actually it's becoming very prescriptive and predictive, because with dashboard you can actually see, especially for sale, when you do our sales allocation, you can see basically what's your pipeline and what's your current resource capacity. Based on that, you make the decision where you turn your levers up and down. Are you going to put some more people in this market, or are you going to put some more people in that market? So when people come to us, so for example, I work in research, and all the time, people are always trying to get, additional analysts in their team. We have the dashboard. We have exactly in front of us exactly how many deals or how many papers they're working on today and what's their current capacity, and we have the power to tell them, no, you have to go back and you have to make do with your current resource, because I can see exactly that you have overcapacity.
So basically, our dashboard was always there, as part of management system, but I think it has become much more detailed, informative, and intelligent.
And
Visualization.
and predictive at the same time.
And predictive,
absolutely,
and
yeah.
then we can take very quick decisions based on on the dashboard. And we not only go 4 quarters, we typically go 8 quarters, 16
We go
quarters,
3
right?
years
And
actually.
then we map it that how the next 4 quarters will look like, what are the corrective actions we have to take. So it's extremely important, and we spend a
So
lot
you
of time.
don't need managers anymore.
Well, so that's in that. Let's come to that point. This is very interesting. তুমি বলছিলে যে we have memory now, don't need to use.
না আরেকটা জিনিস আমি
The
বলি
point
তো
আমি
ওর
এক
কথা
মিনিট শেষ করে নিই। The concept here is, because you have too much of data, the management is now scared that you're dumping too much data to the management. So what is happening is this whole dashboard concept is going to sunset. It's not going to work. Right? And we tried that with our CEO. The whole concept has changed because this guy comes in and says, well, guys, so you are giving me too much data. What do you want me to do? Right? I do not want data. I want you to tell me what the data is telling me. Give me the story.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
that
I'm
I
saying.
can act right now and beat the shit out of the site.
But the
That's-
dashboard should be built based on the
Tell me
story.
who to fire.
Correct.
Dashboard should be built from the story.
So that's where
The reality
what the
is
concept
It needs
is.
to be tailored, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It needs to be
Very
tailored to
better.
one
To the to whoever
the
consuming
user,
the
to the
data,
end
yeah.
user,
Yeah.
yeah.
System has
They
to
are going
tell
to
you
make the
what
story.
to look at,
Exactly.
rather than we have been doing phishing of data
Yeah.
for a
It
long
has to be
time.
very intuitive. You have to
সেইখানে
like, go
concept
there
টাকে
and
flip
see
হয়ে
that
যাচ্ছে।
story right away, see the pattern. The reality being still is that no matter how tailored you make it, you still have to, every quarter we have our dashboard and we have our management meeting, so I have to prepare an executive summary of the dashboard. And then for our
That's why we have our job.
Pack it
no,
up,
I have to keep my job, and for senior management, this is true. An executive summary of the executive summary.
No.
So that's
so
why
actually-
the whole concept of dashboard, right, is eventually going to go away, because when you talk to the
কিন্তু
senior
শোনো,
managers, right,
নাম
they
আলাদা।
want to say, okay, you have this, I'll give you an example. I have 45-page fantastic report created by you, PowerPoint, right? The guy comes into the meeting and says, well, he doesn't tell me anything. What is the message? He looks at your eyes and says, what is it?
That's why you need the executive
then-
summary of the executive summary.
This guy doesn't even read a single page, right?
That's like
He
2
opens the
pages.
first page and says, okay, in one line tell me what does your 45-page deck say. So you have to basically tell him, go to the 23rd page, that data point is telling
That's
you
right.
that you're going to.
another thing what they're saying now. সেখানে তো ইন্টেলিজেন্সটা আসছে, ড্যাশবোর্ডটার প্রোফাইল কন্টিনিউয়াসলি will change. নামও
Exactly.
পাল্টে যায়।
That's what
নামও পাল্টে যায়।
that is one of the major points that current management is asking. The dashboard should not be a report. It should be dynamic also, because I move some parameters
to be
here,
dynamic.
it should change in front of my eyes. So without going back to get the
Interactive.
management report or management report, it has to be interactive.
But that will depend upon the
Are
level
they-
of management.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
না
And
যেই
the-
একটা
And the aptitude of the manager.
না শোনো যেই একটা স্ট্যাম্পিং হয়ে যায় that this is dashboard, you just turn around.
So what are the things you need to remember to do this? This is true for anybody. I think this is true for sales, marketing, big data, small data, everything. Is few things, and as I've learned, is you have to give the information in one place, which is all we're talking about. In one, cannot be disjointed in many places, especially with sales. You know, they have so much, you know, ADHD. You have to like you have to give them in one CRM, in one screen. Go call this person this time because something has changed in this industry or something has changed in this business. That's why this is your best time to call it. Something like that. Data quality. This is something I talk about almost every day with management, with my end users, with my team. First of all, data quality is everybody's responsibility. And I don't know how much people care about data. I do care about data, but it cannot be just one person's responsibility. So people will come to us and come to me all the time and say, this data sucks, this data is wrong. No, this data sucks because you put something bad. You are in charge of your contacts. If you are inputting bad data, it's garbage in, garbage out. So data quality is something that if we are not very particular about, it's going to manifest in all our models. So that's one thing.
So one thing we are seeing is a trend, right? To the point of data quality.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a top-down approach. Meaning the deck which you are preparing for a senior manager, right? The moment you say to the analyst or the data entry people or the people who are actually feeding the data, that this data point is going to be looked at by the CEO, right? The data quality ups it improves. Unless you make a mistake, which is fine. So the point of having proper checks and balances and the top-down approach where the managers pays the attention, because at the end of the day, analytics means you got to do a correlation analysis. You're going to correlate data points and write an English sentence out of it, right? So that's what you're going to do. If your data is wrong, then you're going to get a wrong analysis, right? Do a sentiment analysis.
But the problem is in a dashboard you can point out a bad data, right? But what happens in the backend system? You know, somebody enters a bad data. There is no check unless what you said is, you know, there is just a top-down and a bottoms-up approach.
Yeah,
about it's a
to
culture. The culture has to be all about data governance and data stewardship, but it just cannot be with just the C level.
আচ্ছা একটা কাজ করব আমরা একটা প্রপোজাল আছে মধুমঞ্জরি আমরা 5 মিনিটের জন্য ব্রেক সবাই খাবারটা নিয়ে এসে এখানে বসে না আবার এই খেতে আমরা
I'm actually
একটা প্রশ্ন আছে
No, I think it's philosophical. When you say bad data, what is bad data?
That's a very good
let me
question.
just follow
Very
up
good
on
question.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not somebody mistyped it, right? How you use the data, what are the variables, what are the important variables for what your manager looking for, which department going to use it. So it's often not enough understanding of who will be using the data and which one you should put, because there
Right,
are
so
I just want to
very important.
clarify.
That's why you have to do that cultural education. You have to teach them that this data that you are entering, for example, it could be your contact information. If you are not inputting the right country code or not the right zip, this is actually going to manifested when you are
I'm giving
predicting
you an example.
something.
I'm in clinical science, right? Clinical research.
Okay.
A lot of data come.
Okay.
Now, person using the data, processing the data,
Yeah.
has to have good understanding what the data will be used for, right? So what's the disease you are going to use, which organism, maybe this organism totally has no relevance to this disease, but somebody is getting the whole dashboard of data, putting them in, putting in a model. So I think knowledge of the data, how you play with the data,
Awareness.
who are using and for whom you are going to use it for is very important.
And I
to
agree,
define the bad
and I
data.
think there is a new job, a profession that's coming up called data scientist. So that is a different, different paradigm and a profession. But they are not data analysts, they are not data enterers, they are not managers. They are data scientists who understands and has the knowledge.
And the scientist has to know who are you analyzing the data for. Is it for the marketing head or the R&D head? I know.
Or the model, or the model.
But that is that is the business aspect of it, right? That is the business aspect. That is the marriage between the business and
আমি
the
একটা অফবিট কথা একটা বলে নেবই, কারণ ওই that's what me